1, 2, 3, in the place to be. I'm your host, Adam L. Calling Bizzle Bounce. So to the right and left of me is.
Because the governor.
And Jammer one.
Okay. All right, let me start off first saying I do not believe in polygamy. I do, however, believe in polygyny. They're two different, they're two differences. I can't hear you, girl. Okay. Polygamy, from my understanding, is a man having multiple wives and a woman having multiple husbands. So I do not believe in polygamy. However, I do believe in polygyny. A man having multiple wives, and in my faith, you can have up to 4. So, but
Wait a minute. Didn't it sound that kind of sounded like the same thing?
no,
What's the
polygamy with an M is a
Right.
woman having the right to have multiple husbands, as well as the man having the right to have multiple wives.
Oh, okay.
Polygyny with an N is just a man having multiple wives. So there's a
Because
difference.
I always thought that was polyamory, but you said polygamy.
Yeah. Polygyny is for the men. And polygamy is another word for it too. You can look it up. I'm not sure, but where the woman can have multiple husbands.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
The broader term for both. Polygamy is the broader term for both, according to the definition.
Yep.
But polygyny is
For the men.
specifically men.
Yep.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because I used to tell women I believe in polygamy, and so I had to educate myself. Okay. Let's get to it. The benefits and harms of it. Right, and just brief reading the article, right? Just brief reading, the potential benefits. I'm sorry, sharing responsibilities of co-wife, domestic chores and children, the duties and let's see, reducing the workload. I'm sorry, support network. Families can offer a wider support system for both wives and children. Um, let's see. Some individuals may see polygyny as an opportunity to form a second marriage and create differences in types of family and domestic. Reduce financial strain, meaning that families can come together and less the workload, for us, especially in today's economy, and so forth, so forth. Now, the downsides to it, where we at? Let's see. Relationships between co-wives can be strained by competition and the husband attention. It also can have health hazards due to stress and other things, meaning that you don't know what that other woman's doing, you know, across town, and bring back something to you and your wife. So traditionally, it has its benefits, which I just mentioned. If you look, if you're a person that reads scripture, you read early Israelite scripture. It has that in there, Islamic texts. I don't know too much about Christianity. I do know that the founder fathers, their views and their ways of Christianity, they look at it as monogamy. And, you can look this up, fellas. Statistically, this country runs, leads the world in diseases, infidelity, and what's the word I'm looking for? Degenerate, that is, actions and type of things that people do, right? And all these things could be not cured, but can be contained if a man had more than one wife responsibly, because polygyny is a man's game. It's not for little boys. It's
Right.
not. It's not for I got Keisha across town and I'm feeding off her food stamps and her Section 8, and I get to tell her what to do. No, you got to take care of that woman, food, clothing, shelter, equally for both women. You can't. No one's telling you emotionally to be there because that's impossible. It's just like children. You know you love one child more than the other, but you can't say that. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by love, I mean like, let me clarify it. Favoritism, meaning one child is like, okay, I love all y'all, but this is my ace right here. It's my partner in crime. You get what I'm saying? I know if something was to happen to me, this one's going to jump first and not put me in an old folks' home. This one is going to come to me if I'm getting evicted, or this one is going to, I always got this one. And this one over here, I love this one the same, but this one been giving me a whole lot of stress, and I'm always bailing this one out of jail, or this one, I'm getting them out of rehab. So every relationship with a parent is different with the child. Let me rephrase that. Not saying they don't love them the same, but you have your favorites, and that's just the reality. We won't say it. You're not supposed to say it, but that's just the reality, right? So, not to dive too deep into this, and probably more religious than what I expected to dive into it, but it has its benefits. And just look at what we went through in the hood, right?
Right.
A lot of us grew up with our fathers.
Right.
And a lot of the men are in jail, or they decided they don't have interest in a woman at all, meaning that they may be homosexuals, or you have some that don't want to be married, period, right? So if you had that one strong man that can hold things down and have a team, one wife or two wives, three wives, whatever, that understands the mission, and they understand that this is a village and they building things for the family and the culture and stuff like that, it can have its benefits and it can have its disadvantages as well, which I just mentioned, when those things are not respected and they go outside that box and bring down that structure. So,
yeah,
just me.
I think that's the big thing of it. If you can handle that, and if that's something that you see, both of y'all got to be built for that. Like, say, you can't just jump into this thing. Like, say, I decide I was going to get married tomorrow, right? And then out the blue, I didn't change my mind. I know I ain't changed my mind, but now I want to add another one to the mix. But number one, I know that this is what I was into from the jump. Now I done changed my mind into it. Now I'm telling her after the fact. Now we married. Oh, by the way, I'm ready to add 2 and 3 in the next 3 years. So if I start telling her that, you know what I mean? Now she feel like she got backdoored into this. So what I'm basically saying, only way that can work is both y'all gotta be on the same page, and they know that this is gonna be at the same point, that this is gonna happen down the road. But another thing to worry about is the kids when they grow up. How does all that work? Like, say the first set and then the next set. Who gets, you know what I mean? So who's the favorite set of kids? Going to be the first wife or the second wife? So that's something I would think that'd be something like down the road to really think about and consider. You know what I mean?
I think they got to be, before I let Jammer cook, I think it not only culturally, but it got to be something that, like you said, all parties agree to, and it got to be something that the kids are raised
Yeah.
in. Unless it's like you said, some type of revert religious type of practice, and even then, when it's a revert religious type practice, you have the conflict. You have the conflict of faith dealing with what you're normally used to. It can conflict. You get what I'm saying? For instance, like certain religions, you can't drink alcohol. And you probably come from a culture where, or Fridays, at the party Fridays, y'all drink all the time. And this person realized, okay, I can't drink, although, he can't go completely cold turkey, but it's a struggle to get to that place where he's mentally and spiritually disciplined to leave it alone.
True.
You know. So what you think, Jammer One, man? You sitting over there thinking, what's going on, man?
No, I was listening to what y'all were saying, and I agree with what y'all were saying on the spiritual level. But outside of a spiritual level, I think that men should have as many women as they can handle, whether they're married, unmarried, And I also think that depending on the man, the women don't need to know about each other because that can cause a whole lot of drama. But yeah, I do think that men should have multiple women. Now that don't mean that they should be having sex with all of them, because different women can bring different purpose to your life. You know what I mean? You can have homegirls that that you have great conversation with, and you're able to like do business with and stuff like that. Or they could just be on the back burner till you're able to get to them. But I think that having multiple women is deeper than just playing around for men. I think it helps men psychologically. It gives you a certain amount of confidence in yourself. And I don't know, it's just something about it. It just gives you a kind of strength as a man, you know?
Yeah, you're right. The idea. I
Yeah,
mean,
so I think men should have as many women as they can handle. I don't think that men should lie about it. Like if you're the kind of man who likes variety, then you shouldn't commit to one woman and then be like, I love you and only you, there's nobody else.
Yeah.
That's a terrible thing to do. You can have your main girl, but she needs to know that, there's other women. That's a respectable thing to do. Or you don't have to tell her anything, but just don't lie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like dudes be like lying and running game. I think that's very immature.
Right.
I think that's very immature.
It's
But it's an intelligent way to answer these questions. Am I like when a woman coming to you and ask, "Am I the only one?" It's an intelligent and honest way that you can answer that question. And most women be cool with it, man. Women just don't want to be embarrassed. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
They don't want to be surprised and they don't want to be embarrassed by like male buffoonery.
Yeah. 'Cause I think the thing that hurts them the most is if they get to a point where they say, all right, I'm emotionally invested in this dude. You know what I mean? And she really start thinking, he really thinking I'm the only one and I'm the one he's chosen me. And then later on, like, oh, no, no, no. You just won on the roster. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the thing that gets me is you have men who can't have one woman. They like variety,
Right.
but they will still get married and they will still have a girlfriend and they will lie to that woman. You know what I mean? They will lie to that woman. They'll continue to cheat on that woman, get caught, run her through the, you know what I mean, run her through the mud emotionally. I think that's a terrible thing to do. That's terrible.
I think as men, we have an innate feeling to be protectors and providers. So the more that's enhanced and heightened, the more confidence, like you said, Jamawan, that we become. And we say, I got to get out there and get it because I got now 2 women to provide for. I got more children to provide for. I have a bigger responsibility with this little village I have that's going to go out into the world and benefit the world. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I agree with that 100%. Not to get religious, man, but I know in the Quran it says that what you was saying, Jamawan, in the Quran it says you don't have to tell them. But the Prophet Muhammad, he said that it is better that you do because
Right.
women are very emotional. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
How do you fellas feel about the opposite of it? Monogamy, if I'm pronouncing that right. One woman to one man. And anybody know the history of that? And is it a westernized problem? Because I know in a little article I was just brief reading, it says that polygyny is looked down upon, shamed in Western society.
Western society it is, but it wasn't always.
Yeah.
Well, not always. To think about how big the Mormon, that whole movement is and was. You know what I mean? And that took over. And I know they banned that practice within their religion. They banned that, but at the same time, they're still known for that.
Okay.
They're still known for multiple wives. Like their
I
whole.
didn't know that. I thought that it's something that the West did to them, like told them they couldn't do it.
I think, yeah, that's what I mean. But see, they came from the West, though. I think
Yeah.
I think Joseph Smith started them.
Okay.
That's his name, but I think he's from the United States, though, like in the 18th.
Yeah, he is. He is.
So given that, and he was into all of that, where they had multiple wives, and a bunch of their leaders from for a good time period, like they 25 wives, 30 wives. I think one dude's locked up now with a whole lot of them. So they have that. You know what I mean? So the West, his was funny about this too, though. We'll say we monogamous and everything, but at the same time, over the course of our lifetime, it do be multiple wives when you think about it. It just
Yeah.
over the course, like, all right, I was with her for a good long time. You know what I mean? That's basically a wife. And then after that, that broke up, got another one. You know what I mean? So when you think about it, a lot of us really do practice that without really practicing that.
Yeah.
But we, you know what I mean, in many ways, but it's not within the constraints that it need to be in. Like to say the way that you're describing it. For those who would want to do that,
Yeah.
it's gotta be within a particular framework. Because
Yeah.
if you would look at all the major religions in the past, all of them have the people that had that had multiple wives.
Multiple wives.
Right.
Multiple wives. Yep.
You can't even argue against that aspect. But there was a certain control aspect, not a control aspect, but there was a certain order that they had to be in order for it to work. And if it
A certain responsibility, you had to be on man time.
right,
And not to say they was perfect, because you had women that was jealous, of one another. You had to deal with the jealousy sometimes.
right,
You had to deal with a lot of stuff that comes with it, but it does have a profound benefit on society if done right and respectfully.
right. But if done
You
wrong,
know,
it can be
if
chaos.
done, oh man, it could be hell and chaos, especially in the day and
Right.
time now, because their
Yep.
first wife or second wife, third or fourth or whatever, they're
Mhm.
gonna put your business on social media. Somebody may go outside the box and bring the whole camp back, some type of disease and all
Let the
types of
kids
madness.
get the
Pillow talking,
right,
going wrong. You
right.
may be saving this amount money for this woman, and she find out, and all hell break loose. You know what I'm saying?
No,
So
no, you not know the first one. Like, no, you're not leaving me out of that one. I'm the one that helped build you this from the jump. Now you
yeah,
got the fourth one, you got the brand new fourth one. You trying to go? No.
I'm gonna tell you a story about my father, man. He doesn't watch the show because he's too old where he don't know how to work technology. But I'm going ahead and say it. Okay, he was telling me a time where he had at one point in time he had two wives. They were staying with him, right? Um, and I believe it was like 10 or more kids in the house, right? So he was doing good. He was chilling. Had two wives at the house. Now, once again, this is another dive into another segment. It's better if you have a house with two kitchens or have them live separate
Separate houses.
in a separate household.
Yeah.
The less they know, in a sense, the better off, right? But he had two women, two wives living in the same household, over 10 kids, whatever. One day, a knock was on the door. They opened the door, and it was a young lady standing there in her early 20s. Now, remind you, my father at this time, he's well up in his 40s, 50s, whatever. His wives was like around the same age, but this one was like a young one in her 20s, right? She said, they said, hey, sister, who are you here for? What's going on? She said, I'm here for Dovak Man. Oh, really? What are you here for? We just got married. I'm his third wife. Oh, really? Come on, sit down. Make the long story short, man, the two wives and the kids whipped his ass.
Mm.
They whooped him from the house all the way up the street. They said they beat him so bad he crawled in the neighbor's house for shelter.
Mm.
And
You say it's your grandfather?
no, my father. So
Oh, okay.
so
David, now
yeah.
it's oh, this ain't it.
So that was not executed pretty good,
Right.
if so to say. That's when things, that practice going wrong. I won't go into detail, but that practice went wrong. You know what I'm saying? But this man has over 15. My father has 15 kids by different sisters in different times.
Mm-hmm.
So on my father's side, it's like 15 of us by different women.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So yeah, old man was getting around, man. He was getting around.
That's how it goes. I got a
Hey,
grand uncle, 29 kids. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go back to the question about how we felt about the other side monogamy.
Yeah.
I actually think monogamy is a beautiful concept, but it's not for everybody. And monogamy is also a choice, and it takes a lot of discipline. And I don't think most people have the discipline. It's almost as if when it comes to monogamy, it's something you have to learn from a young age. You have to be influenced into that. And I think that's what America was going for when it was first starting up. Or maybe that's like European stuff. I don't know.
It is.
But
It is. It is. It's
yeah,
European stuff.
yeah.
Look at the craziness
Yeah.
though. How many how many girl babies are born every day compared to the number of boy babies?
Mm.
Let's just let's throw a fallacy out there. If y'all can look up the facts, that'd be better. But let's just throw out a hypothetical,
I
not a
looked it up
fallacy.
before. I looked
What's
it
the
up
number?
before.
What's the number?
It's actually pretty even. It's like 52 women to every 48 men that's born. So it's
Okay.
it's fairly even, but it's a little bit more women born than men. Like it's not like way more women born than men. No, that's not the way it is. It's pretty
So
even.
how many women in the world compared to men?
It's about even. But the thing is, men die off faster
Quicker.
than women do.
So
That's
leave
that's that's
widows. So you
that's
leave
what makes, huh?
I'm sorry. So leaving widows and stuff behind and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's crazy.
So that's what makes the lopsided sort of balance. You know what I mean? Men go fight wars. They get into things in the streets. You know, they die young. When they get older, they don't live as long as women. So that's why it's more women naturally than men.
Here's the thing. Now, this is a universal issue, but let's just stick with our community on this one, the black community, right? The
Hmm.
statistics of black men in jail, the statistics of black men in their graveyard dying at an early age, and the sisters that's out here, the black women that's out here, single parent moms on food stamps and stuff like that. I think our community in the West needs it more than anyone. And I think that the men need to step up more than any community in the West. And I think that, and that's my personal opinion. Yes, I come from a
100%.
culture.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think the black community more than anybody needs to practice polygamy. You said polygyny?
Polygyny, yeah, polygamy.
Polygamy. Yes. I think that the black, like, you need those men like actual men who can pull it off. It's not for, I don't think everything is for everybody. You got a lot of dudes who be out there playing games, knocking
Yeah,
women up, getting caught up in the streets, running off, being players. Not them. I get what you saying. You need like actual men
actual men.
or family oriented, spiritual men, strong
Yeah,
men. Yes, yeah. All
yes,
of them deserve multiple wives.
yes, yes. And I
But
think, but how,
we gotta we gotta pick up the slack. You
but
know what
here's
I'm
the,
saying?
but here's the thing though. We live in a society now that the sisters, the black women, their mind is somewhere else, man. I mean, they don't. That's a very few minority that think that way. The majority thinks like Nicki Minaj and Megan
Right,
Thee Stallion.
right. They
You get
think
what I'm
they all
saying?
deserve their own man,
Yeah,
but it's not enough men to go around for all of them,
yeah.
Well, no,
and they know that. They know that, but yeah, like they just don't. They ain't really. I think
especially,
it's up to the men to really take the mantle, because the black community, right? The black community is a matriarch. It's not a patriarch. So when you see these black girls talking about we trying to take down the patriarchy, there is no patriarchy in the black community
Mm,
because most of our households are ran by women because the men ain't there, fathers ain't there.
exactly. And you got a whole bunch of young, emotional guys out here with Dracos that don't know how to have a conversation or break, they don't learn conflict what's the word I'm looking for?
Conflict
Of
resolution.
Thank you. They don't understand that.
Yeah.
You understand? Because they was raised by emotional women.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, they was raised with babies having babies. So how can she teach a man how to be a man when she never had a father in the house to teach her to show her what a man looks like? You get what I'm saying?
100%.
She never had a man to show her what a man looks like. So how can she raise a man?
Well, she won't even understand what a man is thinking. Like when the feelings hit, right? The same way we don't understand, we're not able to relate when they having certain emotional things. There's certain things we're not able to relate with. So I'll hear something and then whatever. But another woman, I could tell her, yeah, she said blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, whatever. How could you say that? You didn't notice this was a blah, blah. Like, that's the worst offense that you could commit. And it's the same thing with, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things that, like, say, for example, man disrespect another man, right? There's a certain the level of rage that kicks in, right? Women just laugh. They laugh at that. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. They think it's funny and they want to laugh at jokes. They don't understand when they start giggling in that situation that right now you might be signing somebody's death warrant at this point because now you've escalated this. Because now the situation is this man felt disrespected. Now he hears some women over there giggling in the back now. Now it's gotten worse. Now this disrespect then went to a whole nother level.
Yes.
Will it kick in? And you see what I'm saying?
Our manhood is #1 priority.
Right.
You don't have that, you ain't a man. You might as well just get your nuts chopped off, bro.
Hang it up.
Seriously. 100%. Seriously. But I think our community needed more than ever. It's oh my God, it's so disturbing on so many levels. I don't try to generalize every youth, but the ones I have came in contact with and the commercialized message that's out there that we're dealing with we're dealing with a dying race. The way these young women think. And these supposed to be the first teacher of the child. They supposed to nurture the child. They're the foundation of the house. And y'all think like this? No. Y'all dress like this? You get what I'm saying?
You get it's inside of some of these houses. You know what I mean? And think about it. They live and die on fast food now. You know what I mean? They don't want to cook anything. I'm not this is wild generalization, but I'm talking about this particular segment of ignorance. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of good people out here now. Because we don't talk about a lot of them. They don't get the press. You know what I mean? They don't get on the news. No one talks about them. The people that's doing the right thing to get up and do work and they take care of their kids and all the things they supposed to do. We talking about a particular segment. You know what I mean? They're the ones that turn like they don't want to do the thing they're supposed to do. They're not about being responsible. And then when they come, then you want to have babies. And then when they having babies, they're not taking care of them, you know, and they just running around in diapers all the time. You know what I mean? They dirty. They not learning anything.
At all.
Right.
Most are raised illiterate. Right. Here's the thing. Why, I think somebody came across my feed and said this morning. Why do us as a community champion the clowns of our community, the degenerates, if I'm pronouncing it right, I'm sorry. They, the forefront is the ignorant gangster rapper, the athlete, the reality superstar. No one knows I can't even tell you. And no one can tell me the top 5 black scientists. No one can tell me the top 5 black doctors, the top 5 black scholars. No one can tell me this. And I challenge anyone from Baltimore, Maryland, the East Coast, all through America. If y'all can give me those 15 I just mentioned about using chat GPT, whatever, I will give you $50.
Because I sure as heck can't.
I know I can't. and I'm a person who reads, but I don't remember well, so I forget what I read unless I keep going. Like my father used to say, you read a book for 3 things. You read it to get thought, you read it for memory, and then you read it to implement. So you got to read the book 3 times in order to get it. So I can't name those people.
Yep.
You know, I couldn't name it. And this is where we at society.
Yep.
And I consider myself and you fellas as very conscious men, spiritual men, men who are righteous, but we struggle as human beings. I consider that from you guys, for what I know of you guys, right? And
Yeah.
like you said, we struggled to come up with 5 names, 5 doctors of all time, 5 lawyers and scientists. But we can tell you 5 gangsters of all time.
Oh, we see him.
Alpo,
Yep.
Rich, Ace Boogie.
But you know what? You want to know what, though? You want to know what? I don't even think that's the people's fault, because that's what's promoted to the people. We've been watching gangster movies ever since we were kids. We've been watching Westerns. We've been hearing incredible music ever since we were kids. That's promoted to us as leisure and fun time.
Yep.
So you know how leisure and fun time can take over your mind and have you thinking that's what you need to become. Like, yeah, man, that's what the I ain't gonna say the masses, but that's what the can I say Illuminati? Let's just say Illuminati for lack of a better term. That's what the Illuminati pushed to the people to make us docile and stupid. And it's working.
They will.
And look, they're gonna slowly start implementing more and more and more and more stuff to make us more oppressed as people. And we're gonna be just as happy and bliss in our ignorance. There's so much stuff going on right now, man, that we should be protesting about, but we don't, because we are blissfully ignorant. The average person is blissfully ignorant. And they want you to be blissfully ignorant because they want you to continue to make them rich and keep their foot on all of our necks.
Do you think they study us like a master's class?
Yeah, man. I honestly believe they have secret schools that they go to so they can continue to run society. And they've been doing it for hundreds of years.
Right.
They got plans that they are going to implement years from now. They're like, they have everything mapped out the way they want society to go.
50 years.
We can't lay it all on the people now because it's going to cause uprest. We have to gradually change with time. We have to sprinkle them with their oppression. We have to make their oppression comfortable. That's what they're doing.
Imagine if our grandparents right now were to just step into 2025.
Exactly. They would blow their minds. They would be like, what is going on? Why are y'all paying $2,000, $3,000 for rent? What kind of world is this? They would have a heart attack just for that one thing. Come on, man. And us as a society, we let them do it, yo. We let them do it.
Was it a time?
That is not living. That's slavery.
Was it a time in this country? I know that. See, I came up, I'm sure, just like you guys have, ignorant to what went on in slavery, right? Because how it was taught to me in elementary school that the slaves were dumb. They were illiterate. Like they was just monkeys jumping off a tree and didn't know any type of language. They were just stupid, right? And then as I got older, I said, okay, they was illiterate to your way of thinking, to your language. They weren't illiterate because they had, we are master builders. We're master mathematicians. We are inventors. You get what I'm saying? So no, we weren't illiterate. We just illiterate to your ways and your culture and your language. So that's what they didn't tell us. And that's another frame of thought that makes you think that you're lesser.
They also didn't tell you that when slavery ended, the black people were the ones who had most of the skills. They knew how to work the land.
Yep.
A lot of them had to teach the white people how to work the land because they didn't know how to do it. They had to
on their own farm.
Yeah, so yeah, they taught you that black people in slavery, they taught us the same thing. Black people in slavery were ignorant and didn't know how to do nothing. No, they actually knew how to do everything because they were slaves.
Exactly.
And here's the thing.
Exactly.
Get back. Black people, for what is, were fighting to learn how to read Western English, like
Yeah,
fighting how to read. Now, where did we lose that interest in books?
It was programmed. This was something that was programmed in popular television and movies and things like that. So by the time we were kids in school, right? If you was the one raising your hand in class answering questions, black kid answering class, answering questions, that's not the move. It was better.
Right. They used to make fun of you. They used to make fun of you for being smart.
Right. It's better for you to play dumb. You know what I mean? If you the black kid, it's better for you to say, nah, I don't know. It's better.
Yeah, being
Don't get up
stupid
and
was
read.
cool at a point. Crazy.
Right.
Or they had the reverse extreme, to the opposite of that. The person who couldn't read, that the teacher will put on
They gonna
blast,
stick him on.
and then he'll make a joke.
Yep.
Oh, screw this class. Bloom, slam down, and everybody else clapping and cheering him on and stuff like that. He walk out the class, but you're not making it a comfortable environment to say, look, I struggle with reading.
Yep.
Let's all learn together. So you had two extremes. You had the one that the smart guy, the smartest people in the class were mocked, and then you had the dumbest person. He was mocked in his own way.
Yep. You can't.
You know? And the teachers know this. It's not like they don't have books and they don't have folders on these children who's strong in this, who lacks in this. And for that person, that teacher, shame on them to call them out is just diabolical. You know, my last name is Wright. In the 9th grade, I was called Willie B. Wrong because in my algebra class, I struggled. And I'll never forget, she always pointed me out. I learned something. I said, okay, if I sit in the back of the class, I'm a target because I'm right on her radar.
Yep.
If I sit in front, I'm definitely a target. So let me be in the middle somewhere. But it was almost like a personal attack because she like, okay, I'm having a teed off day. Will he be wrong? What's this algebra question? And I was that guy.
Yep.
I crack a joke and like, oh man, screw this. Walk out the class and everybody laughing. And it got to the point where I didn't even go to our class. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I just think, man, I don't want to be the gloom and doom, but I see our peoples, man, and I see this younger generation. I don't think it's really no real hope for us, man, in the sense of, you know, as far as in this society. You know, I think that we just gotta, it's a lot of things we gotta do, brother. And these social media outlets, I'm not talking about us, but these other social media outlets is not making no better. Not at all. One guy, I forgot it. I don't know him by his name, but he wears like a blonde hair. He's a fat guy, and
Brewski.
you know, Brewski.
Shut up.